Okay, first off, we would like to say all praises be to the Most High, highest, Ahaya, Ba Hashem Yeshaya, Wa. That's the Father in heaven, Yeshaya, which is his anointed Son, Christ, who came to die on the cross for our sins, and the Holy Spirit, Rawak, which is the Mother Spirit. All right? Now, we are about to go into a lesson titled The Burden of Egypt. All right? Now, Egypt is prominent in prophecy today, and I'm going to show you, according to scriptures, why everything is going on in Egypt that's happening there, and the fact that what will happen with the children of Israel who are in modern day Egypt and in spiritual Egypt. All right, when I say modern day Egypt, the land of Egypt in which our people became a nation under Joseph. When Joseph in Genesis, you read of, went down into Egypt and saved the world through the empire of Egypt through a 7-year famine. All right. Shortly thereafter, he was set up second to the king. In Egyptology, they would call him Imhotep. Later, he set up his 12 brothers, and they ruled Upper Egypt. It's what history calls the Hyksos period. We ruled, and after the Egyptians became jealous and envious of us based on us taking down their gods and praying to the God of Abraham, they concocted a plan that will slowly ease us into captivity by first separating us and then setting up projects for us to do, which led to our captivity. The children of Israel were set free by the God of the Hebrews eventually, after Egypt was smitten with many plagues under Moses. We left Egypt in number with great substance and went into the land of Canaan, which is today called Israel. All right? Now, if you notice that on your dollar bill and on the modern day currency, you have the Pyramid of Giza, which represents Egypt. So the Illuminist powers that are controlling the earth today from Europe is dealing with the same science and magic of ancient Egypt. A lot of their technology they have today is the same technology they received after raiding a lot of these Egyptian tombs and doing excavations through archaeology to get some of the old science of ancient Egypt. But the key point in this is they also linked into the gods that the Egyptians were worshiping, and they're looking to destroy the people who served in ancient Egypt. All right? Now, the point of emphasis is that all the Gentile governments know who these people are. But the people, the children of Israel, according to the Bible, the majority of them are children of slaves who learned history, which is his story, instead of your story. The majority of people within this earth who are in low means, living in the ghettos, who have been dejected, where the CIA, the NSA, and other government powers have been watching you closely, they know that according to antiquity, according to history, according to anthropology, according to true biblical history, that the poor within this earth and in these cities are the true children of Israel of ancient Egypt, that lived in Egypt, walked out of Egypt, and went into the land of Israel. I just wanted to give you a quick summary for those who may be new to the information we're bringing forth. All right? We know beyond the shadow of a doubt who the children of Israel are throughout the four corners of the earth. They are the poor suffering all over the earth. They're the people in Africa, Haiti, Jamaica, the people who were taken down in the West Indies, different parts of Asia, the Polynesians, the people in the South Pacifics, also the people in different parts of China, in the ghettos of China, the people in Indonesia, a lot of them are the children of Israel. You have the Philippines, who are the children of Israel. You have the Cambodians who are the children of Israel. People in Japan, the Ainu tribe, are the children of Israel. You had the samurais, which were in Japan, which are direct descendants of the children of Israel from Samaria. Okay? So this is not just what you would call a black teaching. It's deeper than that. You have Mexicans who are the children of Israel. You have Puerto Ricans, Balikwa Taino Indians, who are the children of Israel. And they are all under the destruction of the powers who are dealing in Egyptian magic. Now, if you notice, and a lot of you don't know this, you need to Google this if you would like, the elite powers, or the Club of Rome, and the elite powers doing rituals at the Great Pyramid Giza. When you get an opportunity, Google that in. Not too long ago, all your elite powers went into Egypt to do a satanic ritual at the tower. Not the tower, but the Pyramid Giza. The Pyramid Giza is also on your dollar bill to let you know the Illuminati powers are dealing with the spirit of ancient Egypt. All right? The so-called New World Order is a plan against the people whom the Egyptians enslaved in the past. Also, up until this day, the so-called revolution that happened in the Middle East began with a concoction from the powers that be. They concocted a plan to go into Egypt to start the so-called revolutions, which is not organic at all. The New World Orders are behind, the New World Order powers are behind that. They also are setting up leaders all over the Middle East, which you would call the Muslim Brotherhood, who are in league with the satanic powers to bring forth the New World Order. All right? And for those of you who don't know, there's a lesson I have to do within itself that lets you know that Christianity at the top and Islam at the top are being controlled by the same powers, the same people. So they set up the Muslim Brotherhood, who will now bring in a new world order over in the Middle East, or in Arabia, the places in Arabia and the Middle East. I'm about to go into the scriptures and give you detailed information that you will not find nowhere on earth. And you can get a pen and paper and write these down, and it brings everything to light according to prophecy. You have some people that just focus on these things individually without putting them together. What hand do America play? What hand does Europe play? What hand does the Khazars who in Israel play in this New World Order? In this burden of Egypt that's coming down according to Scripture. We'll show you. Everyone is up in arms about the health care bill. Really, who cares about the health care bill? What's going on in the earth have nothing to do with the health care bill. What's deeper in the health care bill is the fact that there's a two-way radio device that most people the majority of people who are forced to get health care will have to be injected with by March 2013. That's the key thing. They're just hiding that through a health care bill and stacks of paper that means nothing. All right? The government could care less if you have health care. What they're making law is your future chip so that you can be tracked. We're going to go into that and how that links into the lesson we're speaking of, the burden of Egypt. So, that's enough of the overview. But let's go into some of these teachings here. And to let you know that everything in the earth, all politics that you see in the earth, international politics, it all stems from the Gentile nations or governments looking closely at prophecy concerning us, the children of Israel. That's what your politics are about. Your stock market, everything was built around the children of Israel during a time in which they would be asleep. It was focused on these people, same people who built ancient Egypt, and it was also focusing and they had to put us in cities so that they can know the time of awakening for the utter destruction of the children of Israel. We're going to go into that also. But to begin, a few things came to light that we will bring forth through the Spirit of the Most High on this Sabbath, starting with Revelations, the 11th chapter. Again, the title of this lesson is The Burden of Egypt. We did a profound lesson a few years ago, and for those who haven't seen it, you should download it because they're trying to take them all off and trying to stop you from seeing some of these lessons. We did a lesson called From Babylon, Rome to America. From Babylon, Rome to America. It's a 22-part series, 15-minute clips. And it's detailing and chronologizing, and paralleling how each empire are dealing with the same worships. From Babylon to Rome to America. All right? With America being the new Rome after her deadly wound was healed. So America is not only Rome, it's Babylon the Great, and it's also spiritual Egypt. We want to prove that too. So we're going to go into the spiritual Egypt, and we will go into the physical Egypt today. All right? We went to Babylon, from Babylon, Rome to America, but we left out Egypt, and that's quite important in prophecy, why everything stems from Egypt. Even in the political arena, the so-called Arab Spring began where? In Egypt. All right? So there's something great that's happening that this world is not telling you, and we will bring it forth today. We'll start at Revelation, the 11th chapter, and use precepts to give understanding. Let's start at Revelations, the 11th chapter, and the first verse.
Revelations chapter 11, verse 1. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod. And the angel stood, saying, Rise, and measure the temple of Ahiah, and the altar, and them that worship therein.
So in prophecy, see, Revelations is the revealing of the end, and we're going to give some understanding on this. John the Revelator, a prophet, or what you would call a disciple of Christ, was exiled to the Isle of Patmos by the Romans. There, the Most High gave him visions of an apocalyptic time, and realized that the disciples were praying for the deliverance of the children of Israel. That's what they were praying for. They were not down with the Roman government. All right? They weren't in league with the government, with Rome. A matter of fact, the Romans wanted to destroy them because the disciples knew that Christ's blood was shed to one day free the slaves who were being ruled and destroyed by the Roman Empire. So on this island, the Most High sent visions to John, and we're going to break down some of these visions now. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod. Now, a reed is a measuring tool. Reed, like a ruler. Go ahead.
And the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of Ahiah.
So he says, rise and measure the temple of the Most High God. Read.
And the altar.
And the altar.
and them that worship therein.
and them that worship within the altar. So these angels were not to measure any person or any people outside of God's command. They were only there to measure a particular people according to this prophecy. Read.
Verse 2. But the court which is without the temple
So the people that are outside of the temple
leave out,
leave out.
and measure it not,
Do not measure these particular people. Why?
for it is given unto the Gentiles.
Because the Gentiles are in the outer courts. So they are not to be measured by the angels for this particular number the Most High is getting here. Crystal clear. So that means if you are not born of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you are not being measured for this specific prophecy. Read.
In the holy city shall they tread underfoot,
In the holy cities shall the Gentiles tread underfoot. That means they will take down Jerusalem. They will take down God's chosen people, like they took down Christ, like they took down the disciples, like they exiled John. Read.
42 months.
42 months. This is an actual time period in which the powers will have before they could actually accomplish destroying God's people and the true people of Christ within the earth. That 42-month period. We're going to prove that. Now it says, and measure the temple of the Most High, and the altar, and them that worship therein. So what are they measuring? Who are they measuring? With this rod, with this reed. Hold that and get Zechariah, the 2nd chapter. Zechariah 2.
Zechariah chapter 2 verse 1.
Go ahead.
I lifted up my eyes again and looked, and behold, a man with a measuring line in his hand.
The same measuring line, or read like unto a rod, you read in Revelations 11. Go ahead.
Verse 2. Then said I, Whither goest thou?
Where are you going?
And he said unto me, To measure Jerusalem.
To measure everyone?
To measure Jerusalem.
So when it talks about measuring the temple, it's speaking of the people of Jerusalem, the people of Israel, the original seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's why in Revelations it says the Gentiles don't measure them, because this measurement in prophecy contains one people. Read.
To see what is the breadth thereof and the length thereof.
Let's see how big it is, how long it is. Read.
Verse 3. And behold, the angel that talked with me went forth, and the angel went out to meet him. Verse 4. And said unto him, Run, speak to this young man, saying, Jerusalem shall be inhabited as towns without walls.
So it will come a time where Israel is together in towns without walls. That's the wilderness. Document that. That means we'll be protected by the Most High for a period without towns or walls. Read. So we will be outside of the Masonic construct that's set up all over the earth, these cities. Read on.
For the multitude of men and cattle therein.
So when we go into these towns without walls, we will have what? Men, cattle. Go ahead.
Verse 4. For I, saith the Most High Ahiah, will be unto her a wall of fire round about.
So at some point we will be protected by the Most High within this earth. Even while all this, the chaos and the so-called New World Order and all that's going on. But if you are within the satanic constructs, when all of it happens, there will be no escape. They set up the satanic constructs that they call cities as a trap, for a trap. If you are within their grid, within their construct, when it happens, automatically you're caught in. Read.
And will be the glory in the midst of her.
He will be the glory in the midst of her. So it's going to come a time where the Most High is protecting his people. And the angels are measuring those who will go into the wilderness also. Read.
Verse 6. Ho, ho,
At last, ho, ho means,
come forth, and flee from the land of the north.
ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north. Get ready to move. Read.
Saith the Most High.
Saith who?
Saith the Most High.
Saith the Most High. He's not saying stay where you are. Be like pilgrims in that day. Be ready to move. I know they're setting up a construct and setting legislations where it's trying to stop people from moving. They're attempting to break down the society in which you cannot freely move back and forth, knowing that we are now fulfilling prophecy. Read.
For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heaven.
Because the Most High allowed the Gentiles to take us down and has spread us throughout the four corners of the earth to serve for a time. But that time is almost at an end. Read.
Saith the Most High, Ahia.
Go ahead.
Verse 7. Deliver thyself, O Zion.
Do what?
Deliver thyself, O Zion.
Wait for Christ to pick you up.
Deliver thyself, O Zion.
Wait for God to come tell you it's time for you to float in the cloud.
Deliver thyself, O Zion.
Deliver thyself, O Zion.
That dwellest with the daughter of Babylon.
So if you're dwelling with the daughter of Babylon, you have to look to deliver yourself. No man can deliver you. You must be in the Spirit, link in with the Most High, and follow the Spirit. Read.
Verse 8. For thus saith the Most High, Ahia of hosts. After the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye.
So that's why the nations are not, that's another reason the nations are not numbered. The nations are those that trodden Jerusalem underfoot. They are the nations who spoiled the children of Israel. They're not numbered as leaders for the new kingdom to come. They're in their construct. They're in their kingdom. The same as we're not numbered to rule their kingdom. And they're not numbered to rule ours. And our kingdom will be under Christ. Let's go back to Revelations. So there was given me a reed like unto a rod to measure the temple. Let's see the temple being measured in Revelation 21. Revelations 21, and please make sure you write down these precepts and get these precepts. Revelations 21. And let's start at the which talks about the measure of a man right here. Let's start at 15.
Revelations chapter 22, verse 15. And he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city.
There you go, that measuring tool again. Go ahead.
And the gates thereof, and the wall thereof. Verse 16. And the city lieth foursquare, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs.
12,000 furlongs, and we're going to show you what that means in a moment. Read.
The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal.
Go ahead.
Verse 17. And he measured the wall thereof, as 144 cubits.
144 cubits. So this angel is measuring the 144,000, which will lead under the 12 disciples in Christ. These are they who've been following Christ since and after Christ's crucifixion. throughout all empires. And they're still being numbered up until this present time. So when it's talking about the angels measuring, it's not just talking about our present generation. That 42 months in which we're tread underfoot, the Most High have awakened those in every generation. Not by number like we see today, but every generation had those who knew the truth. And they were measured and counted for this temple. Read.
According to the measure of a man.
According to the measure of a man, that is what?
Of the angel.
Of the angel. What angel? The angel we read of in Revelations 11, who was given a command by the Most High to measure the temple. Also proving that the 144,000 are men. The women and children of the man's family are encompassed within his number. His household is encompassed within him. So even though it's one man, if he have blood on the door, everyone in his household are counted within that number. More clarity. Let's go to Revelation 7 and 1. And then let's go back to Revelations 11.
Sure. Revelations chapter 7, verse 1.
Go ahead.
And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on any tree.
Holding the destruction, read.
Nor on the sea, nor on any tree, Verse 2. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea.
So these angels will be cut loose. And when these angels are cut loose, destruction would happen in high numbers. So the Most High will allow certain destructions to happen within this earth at that period. And we're in that period. Read.
Saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea.
Don't touch anything yet.
Nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God.
So these are servants of the Most High, people who know Christ, know the truth.
In their foreheads.
Go ahead.
Verse 4. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000.
Of who?
Of all the tribes of the children of Israel.
Of all the tribes of the children of Israel. So that tells you who's being measured in Revelations 11. And that the court on the outside leave out. See that? So when you're looking at the religions of this earth today, other nations are over these religions and not us. Why? That's their gods. Their gods are giving them power. And they know that our God, the God of Moses, the God of the prophets of the Bible, the God of Israel, is not measuring them. Therefore, they teach the Bible is nothing. That you can't believe the Bible. Don't even deal with it. Who wrote the Bible? And yet everyone else out there is reading literature that's written by men. But they'll say, well, the Bible was written by men, so don't read it. There's a reason for that. Because they know our God are not measuring them as leaders for the kingdom to come. He's measuring the poor. He's measuring those who fit the prophecy of the people who came out of ancient Egypt and served Egypt. That's who's being measured. We're going to go into that in a moment. Let's go back to Revelations. So 144,000 of all the children of Israel. If you notice, that links up to the temple, 144,000 cubits and 12 furlongs. You have 12 tribes. You have 12,000 from each tribe, which equals 144,000. You gotta sit down. Okay? Read on.
Revelation 7.
Revelations 11.
Revelations chapter 11, verse 3.
Go ahead.
And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses.
When it says, I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, we're going to show you what this means. Okay, because John is not only seeing the witnesses in heaven that are actually doing the work from the heavenly realm. He's speaking of those angels who are within heaven doing that, but he's also speaking of the children of Israel, which represents his two witnesses. We're going to prove that too. Read.
And they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth.
They shall prophesy how long?
1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth.
That 1,203 score days, which is 1,200, a score is 20, 3 score is 60, 1,260 days clothed in sackcloth. It's the same period of time we're reading of in the first chapter, and the first and second verse that reads the 42 months. So this is the same period in which the Gentiles are destroying the children of Israel. When it says clothed in sackcloth, sackcloth is a form of mourning. So God's people are in mourning all over the earth. And when it says shall prophesy, through each empire, God's people have awakened. Small in number, but they have awakened. And they was prophesying against governments, and the government would destroy them. A perfect example, King James was going against the Roman Catholic Church. They destroyed him. On and on and on, up until our time. We had small lights that came that the Roman Empire or the New World Power called America or Europe stamped out. You had Nat Turner, who believed in the Bible. They destroyed him. All right? So it was us prophesying since the fall of Christ that was being numbered. That 42 months is the time in which the powers have to rule. That they would set up their new world order to destroy God's people once and for all. That 1,203 score days. Now let's get some precepts for the two candlesticks. First of all, in the court that is without, measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles. And I will give power to my two witnesses. Go to Isaiah 43 real quick so we can see who the two witnesses on earth is first. Isaiah 43 and 1.
Isaiah chapter 43 verse 1.
Go ahead.
But now thus saith the Most High Ahiah that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel. Fear not, for I have redeemed thee.
Jacob and Israel. Okay. If you were in past classes, you will see that the kingdom was split in two. And when you see Israel, it's speaking of the northern kingdom. When it speaks of Jacob and Judah in the Old Testament, it's speaking of the southern kingdom, the kingdom of kings. That's why it says Jacob and Israel, Judah and Israel, which were one kingdom fractioned into two after the sin of Solomon. Let's go down to the 10th verse.
Verse 10. Ye are my witnesses.
Ye are my what?
Ye are my witnesses.
Ye are my witnesses. So when it says 1,203 score days clothed in sackcloth, it's showing God's people in a state of mourning and death while the Gentiles are treading over them throughout the four corners of the earth. They are the witnesses that prophesy against the injustices within the earth. Like you see Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. Through all empires, you've seen our people would stand up, and eventually the Roman Empire will kill them and destroy them. The same as they did our Lord and Savior, Christ, whom they tried to kill at birth. And eventually, under the Sanhedrin, which were controlled by Khazars, killed him altogether and hung him on a tree. Okay? Let's go back. Ye are my witnesses. So those are the witnesses within the earth. Let's go back to Revelations 11.
Revelations chapter 11 verse 3. And I will give power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth.
That means God's people in a state of mourning. Sackcloth is when you're mourning the loss or death of someone. So these people would be destitute, low, while all the Gentile powers who are treading over them are high and celebrating the fall of God's people. So now that God's people are in captivity and destruction, the Gentiles' religions under Satan are promoted throughout the four corners of the earth. Now the Gentiles can come over and convert you into their religion. Why? Because you are in sackcloth. You have lost your identity. You are in a death position. Okay? Finish reading.
Verse 4. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks before the God of the earth.
When it says these, because Israel have 2 angels, 2 powers, 2 witnesses before the throne who are protecting them, and that actually bring forth the will of Israel and Judah. Okay, when you go against them, these angels operate and bring forth death, destruction, fire. They can stop rain. They can do anything at the behest of the 2 witnesses within the earth, if you're following the Most High. I'm going to prove that. Hold that. And let's get Zechariah, the 4th chapter. So you got your 2 witnesses which are within the earth, and you got your 2 witnesses from the heavens who minister to the 2 witnesses which are within the earth. Just like Elijah. Elijah was prophesying on earth and fire came down from heaven. Who was doing this? The 2 witnesses which were in heaven. They were executing the power to confirm the Most High's prophet. Let's read it.
Zechariah chapter 4 verse 1.
Go ahead.
And the angel that talked with me came again and and waked me, as a man that is wakened out of his sleep. Verse 2. And said unto me, What seest thou?
What seest thou?
And I said, I have looked, and behold, a candlestick all of gold, with a bowl upon the top of it, and his 7 lamps thereon, and 7 pipes to the 7 lamps, which are upon the top thereof.
And we know those seven lamps represents the 7 lights or 7 angels over the 7 churches in Revelations 1. Each church under Christ had an angel over them. We're reading of it in the Old Testament here. They are the eyes of the Lord. Read.
Verse 3. And 2 olive trees upon it. Upon
2
the top,
olive trees upon it. Go ahead.
upon the top thereof, the right side of the bowl, and the other upon the left side thereof.
Go ahead.
So I answered and spake to the angel that talked with me, saying, What are these, my Lord? Verse 5. Then the angel that talked with me answered and said unto me, Knowest thou not what these be?
Don't you know what these 2 candlesticks are? Read.
And I said, No, my Lord. Verse 6. Then he answered and spake unto me, saying, This is the word of the Most High Ahiah unto Zerubbabel, saying, Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Most High of hosts. Who art thou, O great mountain? Before Zerubbabel thou shalt become a plain. And he shall bring forth headstone thereof with shouting, crying, Grace unto it. Moreover, the word of the Most High Ahiah came unto me, saying, The hands of Zerubbabel have laid the foundation of this house. His hands shall also finish it, and thou shalt know that the Most High Ahiah of hosts have sent me unto you. Verse 10. For who hath despised the day of small things? For they shall rejoice and see the plummet in the land of Zerubbabel within those 7. With those 7,
Go ahead.
They are
the 7 angels that will destroy the powers of Zerubbabel. Go ahead.
They are the eyes of the Lord, which run to and fro through the whole earth. Then answered I and said unto him, What are these 2 olive trees upon the right side of the candlestick, and upon the left side thereof?
What are these 2 what?
What are these two olive trees upon the right side of the candlestick, and upon the left side thereof?
What are these 2 olive trees? Read.
Verse 12. And I answered again, and said unto him, What be these 2 olive branches which through the 2 golden pipes empty the golden oil out themselves? And he answered me and said, Knowest thou not what these be?
Do you know what they are? Read.
And I said, No, my Lord. Then said he, These are the 2 anointed ones
2 anointed ones
that stand by the Most High Ahiah of the whole earth.
that stand next to the Most High and look down on the earth. Read. Now, as you can see, there's two witnesses in heaven that deals with the earth. These are they that when the prophets speak and when the prophets bring forth any type of word of confirmation, they in the heavenly realm bring it forth. When Elijah spoke, going against the gods who were destroying our people during Elijah's time, and fire came down from heaven. These are they that work from the heavenly realm to bring down the fire. When Moses smote the water and turned it into blood, these are they through the spiritual realm that turned the water to blood. To give you an example of how your prayers go into heaven and the Most High confirmed them with different functions of the heavenly realm. These what the two witnesses in heaven do for the two witnesses which are in the earth that follow Christ. Let's get it.
St. Matthew chapter 16 verse 19.
Read it.
And I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven.
I will give unto thee the keys to the kings of heaven, and he's given this to Peter. Read.
And whatsoever thou shalt bind in earth,
and whatever you bind in earth, the same as the prophets did in the past. Read.
Shall be bound in heaven.
Shall be bound in heaven. Read.
And whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth,
and whatever you loose on earth,
shall be loosed in heaven.
Shall be loosed in heaven. To show you that those under Christ would have access to the throne, and these witnesses and angels of the Lord reacts and show miracles and powers within the earth to confirm that they are prophets, or confirm that they are under Christ. So through each empire, the Roman Empire, the satanic Roman Empire we live in today, they have watched our people closely to see who would connect to the heavenly realm within this earth, knowing that their technology they have in this earth won't compete, cannot compete. So they had to separate us from our God. Okay, let's go back to Revelations. Before you go there, let's go into the two candlesticks within the earth also, and the olive trees within the earth. Hold that and get Psalms 52 and 8 and Jeremiah 11 and 16. Because some people look at this and think it's either or, when John is seeing a vision speaking of both. He's speaking of the two candlesticks in heaven, the two olive trees, olive branches in heaven, and who they represent and who they protect. The two candlesticks and the two olive trees who are within the earth, who are God's people. It's speaking of them working together in Revelations. It's not either or, it's both. Let's go there. Let's read Psalms 52 and 8 first. This is David.
Psalms chapter 52 verse 8.
Go ahead.
But I am like a green olive tree in the house of Ahiah.
See how David is comparing himself to one of the green olive trees in the house of the Most High? Is he one of the two witnesses who are in heaven? No. But he likened himself like to one of them. Why? Because he was praying to the Most High, and the Most High was using these functions, these angels within heaven, for David to take down the enemies of Israel. And he likened himself like unto one, to show you that it's not just speaking of the angels in heaven, it's speaking of his people too. All right? Another precept, Jeremiah 11 and 16.
Jeremiah chapter 11 verse 16.
Read it.
The Lord called thy name a green olive tree.
He called thy name, talking to the children of Israel, a green olive tree. Read.
Fair and of goodly fruit.
And of goodly fruit.
With the noise of a great tumult, he hath kindled fire upon it, and the branches of it are broken. So
the Most High broke the branches of Israel after their sin in the Old Testament. But it's still showing you what we represented. Hold that. Let's go to the first verse.
Jeremiah chapter 11, verse 1.
To show you who these branches are. Read.
The word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Hear ye the words of this covenant, and speak unto the men of Judah,
The men of who?
the men of Judah,
Go ahead.
and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem.
And to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Still speaking of what? Those people who's being measured in Revelations 11. See that? So people make a mistake when they go to Revelations and try to deal with it in chronological order when it's speaking of a whole time span. And it's speaking of one people. You understand? Let's go back to Revelations.
Revelations
Back
chapter
to the candlestick there.
verse 4.
Go ahead.
These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before Ahiah of the earth.
The power of the earth, those 2 candlesticks who represent and fight for the elect within the earth, who's measured. Read.
Verse 5. And if any man will hurt them,
And if any man will hurt the prophets and teachers and those that follow the Most High. Read.
fire proceedeth out of their mouth.
Now this is not talking about fire coming out of the prophet's mouth. Now the angels, the 2 candlesticks in the heaven, are now bringing down fire on the enemies of Israel, like what happened during the time of Elijah. Like when Pharaoh was chasing us into the near the Red Sea, a pillar of fire came down and protected Israel. So this is showing you the heavenly function working with the elect within the earth. Read.
And devoureth their enemies.
Go ahead.
And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. Verse 6. These have power to shut heaven.
These have power to shut heaven. You can pray. It be raining. The Most High will. You pray, and the clouds will stop. The sun come out. Why? Because these same functions operate within the heavenly realm. Hear your prayer and stop the rain. All right. Read.
That it rain not in the day of their prophecy.
That it rain not in the day of their prophecy. So this is Israel working in the earth, bringing forth prophecy, and the angels on the heavenly realm executing their prayer, executing their wishes. All right? Moses was not doing those things by himself. All those miracles Moses did was executed from the heavenly realm and made itself present within the earthy realm. Christ told Peter, anything you bound on earth shall be bound in heaven. Anything you loose on earth shall be loose in heaven. So whatever you bring forth in this earth, the angels will do. That's what this means. It's not talking about some 2 guys at end time prophecy coming out with fire in their mouth and all that. That's a total distraction of prophecy. So that you'll be looking for something that will never happen. This is not speaking of Elijah and Moses coming back into Jerusalem prophesying like you see on some of these Left Behind movies. That's not going to happen. Okay? This is only speaking of, and let me bring this around, the teachers of the Most High that's following Christ within the earth, which are the witnesses who are numbered by the angels. This is speaking of them who have certain powers by praying into heaven and those 2 candlesticks before the throne executing and confirming their prophecy. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay? And some people might ask, well, why we don't see a lot of this today? Well, it's hard to see it if you're not being told or taught about the true God of Israel. How can you do it if you can't link into the Most High? That's another reason we get bringing forth the Most High's name and the truth according to the Bible. How can you link into this power if you don't know the God who controls all power? That's why they set up religion to separate us from that, because no weapon that's formed against us shall prosper if we link into that power. They know this. So they would never teach you how to link into the heavenly arsenal. Okay? Finish reading Revelations here.
And have power over waters to turn them to blood.
And that's how Moses was able to do what he did. Okay? Read.
And to smite the earth with all plagues, as often as they will.
That's what Moses did. And now we see what was going on with Moses in the earthly realm and what was being executed in the heavenly realm every time Moses brought forth a plague. The Most High would tell them, listen, go tell Pharaoh, let my people go, or this plague is coming. The Pharaoh would harden his heart and go against God's people and not let us go, didn't want to let us go. And then those two angels that are operating before the Most High would materialize into the earthly realm and bring it forth and make the plagues come forth. That's how it was executed. Okay? So, of course, if they see anyone trying to link into the Most High, the true God, they're looking to exterminate just based on that alone, because there's no technology they have in this earth that could fight against the heavenly technology. So it's a threat to their existence. Finish reading.
Verse 7. And when they shall have finished their testimony.
And when they shall have finished their testimony, to show you throughout the years, when the Most High would wake up prophets and teachers and those who would follow Christ throughout all societies during this 42-month period in which the Gentiles are ruling. Read.
The beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit.
And we know the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit is Satan, because he will be bound 1,000 years upon Christ's return, and he will be loosed after the 1,000 years. So Satan is speaking of, read.
The beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them.
Shall make war against them. So every time one of the prophets or teachers of our people wake up and stand for justice, Satan puts a target on them to be destroyed. He targets them through government to kill and destroy them. This is what it's speaking of. So this thing didn't just start here. It's through all society. Since Christ was crucified, Satan would target those who would have this understanding. Read.
And shall overcome them and kill them.
And see, our people were killed. These are assassinations. Ever since the time they killed Christ. Assassinations. They have done this to the disciples. They have done this to King James. Do you know they killed King James? Who was going against the Roman Empire? Yeah, they killed him. It was the Roman Empire, the Roman Catholic Church, throughout all these periods, who have been looking at God's people who was awakening through each society, through each empire, through that 42 months it's speaking of in Revelations. Read on.
Verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city.
Here's the key point.
Which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
And their dead bodies shall lie in where?
That great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
So their dead bodies shall lie in that great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. So this is not physical Sodom. This is not physical Egypt. This is speaking of the place we call America, and I can prove it. Sodom was known for what? Homosexuality. Promoting man on man, woman with woman. And Egypt is a place in which the children of Israel served captivity. Does that sound like America to you? Promoting, giving homosexual rights? And it's the same place where God's people served who came over on slave ships? Let's see.